Hello guys, welcome to Pathways of Excellence. I hope you've all had a great week and I trust that the week ahead will be even greater. Okay, excellent. Every great man has become great by making good choices. Every successful man has become successful by making wise choices. And every strong man has become strong by making tough decisions. Virtually everything that we become or don't become in life is ruled and guided by the choices we make. You are who you are, doing what you're doing because you chose. It is the choices we make that direct the quality and the joyfulness of our lives. So you decide. However, remember, whenever you make a choice, while men may not take you seriously, God takes you very seriously. So if, for instance, you decided to live and be very successful in life, God will ensure to release into your life the forces of life that guarantees your success. If, on the other hand, you decided to fail and die, the forces of death are released into your life to guarantee your failure and your death sentence. So essentially, it is the choices that we make in life that make us. Okay, the story of the Lord continues in Genesis chapter 19, and I'm going to read verse 12, verse 16, and all the way down to verse 22. Okay, so here we find Lot together with his entire family in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, a city under the red hot wrath of God, which God had decided he was going to destroy completely. And he in fact sends out two angels to carry out his instructions. However, Abraham intercedes for Lot, and as a result, Lot is removed from the hit list together with his entire family. Consequently, in verse 12, he's told to leave the city as soon as possible. In other words, catch the next flight out of Sodom and Gomorrah. I am going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. However, in verse 16, we find that Lot is lingering, and in fact, the angels had to literally yank him and his entire family out of the city. In verse 17, we're told that Lot was asked not to look back, but to head for the mountains and never to remain in any part of the plains. However, in verse 18, we see that Lot rejects the offer. And from verse 19 all the way down to verse 22, he seeks a compromise. He eventually gets a bargain deal by remaining in a city called Zoar, which was a nearby plain to Sodom and Gomorrah. The third pitfall to avoid when making choices is simply lingering. In verse 16, we are told that while Lot lingered, the angels of the Lord laid hands on him and his entire family and literally threw them out of the city. The word linger means to loiter. It means to stay behind. It means to stick around. It means to hang around. It means to take one's time. It means to hesitate. It means to tarry. It means to delay departure. It means to delay decision making such that other people are allowed to make their choices, and then you are left to pick up the pieces. You have your options limited because other people must have made their choices. And I'm reminded of a story in Matthew chapter 4, verse 19 to 22, where Jesus issues a call to his disciples, and their response was immediate. Immediately they responded by leaving whatever they were doing and they followed him. On the contrary, in Luke chapter 9, verse 59 to 62, we see that he sends out the same call to two different individuals. The first said to him, well, let me go bury the dead. And Jesus said, no, you can't. You're unfit and disqualified. The second person said, okay, let me go wave goodbye to my family and the rest of them. Jesus said, no, you're unqualified and you're not fit. Well, now, humanly speaking, we could have thought, well, this is very unreasonable. You should have at least been allowed to bury the dead or to say goodbye to their family. But the reason why Jesus actually hates lingering is because whenever we linger, we invite external forces into the equation. Forces which should never have been allowed to stand a chance all of a sudden come to play and begin to dictate. External forces eventually take over our lives whenever we linger. Many reasons why we linger. Number one, we linger when we think things happen with the passage of time. Things don't happen when time elapses. Things happen when choices are made. Without choices, at best, nothing happens, and at worst, external forces pounce. I'm reminded of Isaac Newton's first law of motion, which states that every object assumes a state of rest or uniform motion until an external force is applied. So therefore, things don't happen when time elapses. Things happen when they are made to happen by the forces of choice making. And it is my sincere desire for you that the forces of choice making will be the very forces that drive and control your lives, as opposed to external forces. We live in times where too much is happening too fast to surrender the disposal of your time to the chances of incident. Crisis must never be allowed to force your choices in life. Lot relied extensively on crisis in order to make the right choices. He required a crisis in Sodom and Gomorrah to make a move for the mountaintops, which was God's original plan and will for his life. It's very bad when we take a posture of lingering in life. Delay may not deny you, but it could certainly defraud you. I'm reminded of the story of Jacob and Esau. Esau lingered, Esau delayed, and he lost the blessing indeed. Eventually he got blessed, but he lost the blessing indeed, which was the original blessing. The word indeed simply means the original. So he lost the original blessing. He wasn't denied, but he was defrauded. So it's so important, even when we claim to be waiting on God, it's so important that we are not lingering. The Bible declares that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. So waiting on God requires making a move. It requires soaring. It requires running. It requires walking. It requires doing something. Okay, guys, I'm challenging you to stop lingering. Think about any area of your life that you think you might be lingering and do something about it. I will see you next week, Saturday, 21st of January. But until then, never forget you haven't been created for a mundane, ordinary existence. Instead, you've been fashioned to live an excellent life. Therefore, the prevailing circumstances surrounding your life notwithstanding, the good news is this: there is no comparison between the present hard times and the coming good times. Remain at the top. I love you always. Bye for now.